For the past year, I tried dropshipping, and in this video, I'm going to go over the good, the bad, and everything in between so you can decide for yourself if dropshipping is right for you. Hey, what's going on? My name is Nick, and during the last year, my team and I sold cat pillows, cat hoodies, portable jacuzzis, lamps, tri-chargers, jade rollers, bracelets, inflatable bananas, and countless other items. Some were winners, most were losers. Now, I have to preface by saying dropshipping is not a scam. If you ever see product ads on Facebook, 99% of the time, they are dropshipping products. Now that we have that out of the way, during the past year, yes, I did make some money, and some months I lost a bit of money, and some months I lost a ton of money, but that's just part of it. I wanna show you 10 things I would have done differently in my dropshipping business after 1 year of putting in some serious time, money, and sanity into it. Let's get into it. So, number one, you need a decent budget to go fast. When I first started, I kept watching all these videos of people starting their dropshipping businesses on Spotify with $100 to their name, and that was it. That's what I tried at first, and you know what happened? I ran out of money almost instantly. There are many expenses people don't talk about, like your domain costs, and depending on the type of store you open up, this can add up quickly, like your Shopify subscription, your shipping fees, payment processing fees, product costs, and taxes. No taxes. I'll get into that later, but you need to have a decent budget if you want to save a ton of time fumbling around looking for free alternatives or shopping for the best rate on a software you need to get your business going with. I'd recommend a budget anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000, obviously the higher the better. Number two, winning products that sell like crazy solve a real world problem or that they elicit an emotional response. I made a classic beginner mistake that Tan Chowdhury, hope I'm saying that right, Tan, even warned me against making, and that was the strategy for choosing winning products. When it comes to choosing winning products that have a really high chance of selling and enabling you to scale your dropshipping business, I learned the best way to go about choosing through the millions of products out there on AliExpress is to choose products that solve real world problems and draw an emotional response from the customer or your audience. For example, things like crutches, knee joint support spring wraps, charging hubs for your iPhone and Apple Watch, you know, the ones you've seen you put on like your nightstand or whatever, personalized watches, necklaces, and mugs that the customer can customize with any photo they choose. I found the most success with products that people can make their own and that they consider to be special. This wasn't obvious to me in the beginning, but once it hit me, I went out and started researching about what the hottest items were that fell into these categories, and it worked. Sales skyrocketed, and one of the best parts was that I had a super low refund rate. Now, the refund rate was low because I did my due diligence after finding these products, and it was the single most important step after finding a product, which leads me to next on this list, number three. Due diligence is do or die. In the beginning, I was just choosing products that I thought were cool, and yes, some of them did all right, but a lot of them were trash, believe it or not. Even though I did choose products that I thought solved real world problems, I didn't vet the quality of the products I was advertising, and as a result, I had many unhappy customers and had to issue refunds, and on top of all of that, my reviews reflected just that. I can't get too mad at myself though. I was just excited that I ran an ad on Facebook and that people were buying. It almost didn't even feel real to me at the time. I was just excited to see all of my work starting to finally pay off. If I could go back, I would go find my product that I was selling on Amazon or anywhere else it's sold and look at the most recent reviews it has. Doing this gives me more peace of mind that the product I'm choosing is not total garbage and that the customer will actually be happy with it once they finally get it after waiting weeks. In the end, due diligence is what will decide if you have a good month or a bad month. Next, we have number four, single product stores. Now, when I first got started, for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to start what some call a general store, which is essentially exactly what it sounds like. A general store, where you have many different products ranging from any kind of niche. Now, I'm not saying these kinds of stores are a bad idea. They have their place, but in my opinion, and especially if you have a small budget, I'd recommend a single store with one niche product in it, like fancy pens, minimalism lamps, etc. General stores are a great place to test different products, and my strategy was to test products in my general store and then determine if they're winners from there. I then make that product a single store by itself. So essentially, the general store is one giant experiment, but of course, to test all these products and in order to have data that is statistically significant enough to make decisions on what's a losing product and what's a winning product, you need money. So if you don't have a lot of money, I would not start this general store like how I did with the little money I had. I would do my due diligence in choosing one product or a couple and opening their own separate stores for them. Next, we have number five, That is, you don't always have to advertise on Facebook. Since Facebook ad costs are getting more and more expensive due to iOS 14.5, which has been wiping out many ad accounts on Facebook and a lot of businesses, it's become almost a requirement to advertise in different ways, like reaching out to influencers on TikTok or Instagram and asking for their promotion rates, or going to theme pages and doing the same, or creating your own videos and trying to get them to go viral on TikTok for these products and Instagram Reels, or make your own TikToks and Reels, hoping that they go viral on there, which essentially is free advertising for you. It's just a much longer game because you really don't know which of your videos, if any, will get any traction to get enough people into your store. In the end, it's a numbers game and you just gotta play it. There are many free ways to advertise the products on your store, but unless you already have an account with a decent following, most free methods trade money for time. So the free ways will just take longer and it will take longer to scale. If I could start over again, it would be to diversify my marketing efforts because different products will respond differently depending on which platforms you advertise them on. Some places will bring in more sales than others, but the only way you know that is by testing, and the fastest way to test is by having a decent budget to begin with. The more money you have, the more money you can test, the more you can figure out which are losers, which are winners. Which brings us to number 6, which is establish realistic expectations. And this was a huge one for me. When I first started, I had the expectation that I'd just throw together a bunch of products in my general store, throw out my site, run a couple of Facebook ads for those products, and then I'd be a millionaire in a couple of weeks. And that's actually exactly what happened. I made $1.2 million in sales my first 2 weeks, and the rest is history. Then I woke up from my dream and reality hit me like a freight train. After spending tons of money on these ads for these products, I barely had any sales and was at a complete loss for the first couple months. I had this expectation that it would be easy because my product selection was superior, because I'm better than all these other plebs on the internet, and I'm older so I have more life experience, and yada yada yada. All this garbage I told myself that had nothing to do with whether or not I'd be a successful dropshipper. I was going after products which I personally thought were cool, like I really did believe in these products, I thought they were super dope, instead of later on realizing that it's not about me, it's all about finding a product that my audience will love. So I had to learn to separate my personal opinions and feelings from the product selection process, and that was way harder than it sounds, because just like you, things that I think are cool, I automatically think lots of other people will think are cool too. But sometimes that's just not the case. And because of this expectation I set for myself, I was quickly and severely proven wrong and pretty disappointed. Now I know not everyone is like this, but maybe you are. But when I fail, I take it personally and get very down on myself. But I'm here to tell you that it's not your fault for feeling that way, because we were raised thinking that failure was a bad thing. Life in general, and especially in dropshipping, failure should be accepted and encouraged and praised because it means you're trying and testing. The faster you find the losing products, the faster you'll find the winners. It's that simple. It's a numbers game. Period. Set realistic expectations for this business in the beginning so you don't get too discouraged when you start losing money, because more than likely, in the beginning, you will lose money, and that's just the way it is with the dropshipping model. So set realistic expectations in the beginning so you aren't hit with any huge curveballs that you weren't expecting. Number 7. Here we go. All right, taxes should not be ignored. Taxes, can't live with them, can't live without them, but taxes are the quickest way to get yourself in a financial crisis. And so many people push this off to the side and wait till the last minute to get their taxes sorted out, and they pay dearly for it. And I was one of them. Now, I can't go as far as giving any tax advice because I am not a certified tax professional, and I would recommend you to go and talk to one, and do not look for tax advice on YouTube. Do not. I will say this though, taxes for businesses dealing with sales tax are treated differently with the IRS than businesses that don't. You need to have your tax situation figured out before, making sure you get that, they are due, so you're not scrambling and spending days getting it all sorted out, because when you rush, you make mistakes, things get overlooked, which in the end can end up costing you money, and in some states, jail time. California being one of them. So make sure you get a system in place to get your taxes figured out once you start making consistent sales, and the best way to do that brings me to my next point. Point number 8, setting up your business entity. Creating an LLC takes the risk from your personal assets and enables your CPA to file your taxes for you based on the type of business you have. So after you get an LLC set up, go to your CPA and tell them the type of business you have, and then they will know how to file your taxes, like filing as an S corporation or a C corporation and so on. Your CPA will know exactly what to do. In my opinion, you don't need to set up a business entity until you start making consistent sales, because there is a fee to set up the entity, and you want your profits to be able to pay for this. Remember, we want as much money as possible to be able to test as quickly as possible. So make sure you set up your entity so that when it comes time to pay taxes, your CPA has what they need in order to file your taxes in a way that saves you the most money and, more importantly, keeps you from owing. Which then takes us to number 9, which is bookkeeping is essential. Don't skip it. Number 10, no, just kidding. Now this was something that I did in the beginning, which was great, but I thought I'd mention it here anyway because so many people overlook it and it costs them so much time in the end come tax season, which by the way, you pay quarterly, every 3 months. So you'll need a great bookkeeping person to do this for you, or you can do it yourself by using an app like QuickBooks that you can integrate all of your transactions into, and it'll generate a nice and pretty form for your CPA when it comes time to sort out taxes at the end of every quarter. So it literally just means a couple clicks and an email over to your CPA and taxes are taken care of. If you don't do this in the beginning, it's not the end of the world, don't worry, especially starting out when you may not be getting very many sales, which is normal when you first start dropshipping, so don't worry about that. If you wanted, you could even keep an Excel spreadsheet of money in and money out, and you can use that in the beginning. But once you start picking up sales, you can quickly see how using a manual spreadsheet and having to input sales every time would not be sustainable. So I would make the small investment into QuickBooks. I think it's like 15 bucks a month or something like that. So your time can be better spent finding products, doing your due diligence with those products, and setting up single stores. And finally, number 10 of the things I wish I would have done differently in the beginning of my dropshipping journey, use credit cards. Now I must preface that if you are an idiot with money, then you should not even be starting a dropshipping business to begin with. But you definitely should not even have a credit card. So if that's you, sorry for wasting your time with this video. Once you decide not to be an idiot with your money, then come back to this video and we can talk from there. Okay, now that they're gone and you're here, credit cards can be an incredibly rewarding tool, and I mean that literally. Most of us are aware that credit cards have special rewards programs that will pay you in cash back, points for travel, etc. when you use them. Now, a common misconception that you may have is that you have to pay a super high interest rate when you use these cards, and the answer is yes, you do, but only if you don't pay the balance in full and on time. So for example, if I went out and bought a $3,000 diamond stud to put on my forehead, on a credit card, and then paid that credit card off in full before the due date, then I would pay 0 interest on that $3,000. Now, the best 2 cards, in my opinion, that have great benefits for business owners, especially for dropshippers, are the Inc. Business Preferred Card from Chase and the American Express Gold Card. Now, the reason these are both awesome cards and have been recommended by a couple different dropshipping YouTubers is because you earn rewards from your advertising budgets, which is awesome. So whenever I'm running ads for products on Google, Facebook, or Instagram, I'm earning rewards in points or cash back, which drops the cost of advertising for me ever so slightly. Now, after many months of an insane amount of effort and an egregious amount of money, I finally made this work, and over time I started to realize that this was not what I wanted for my life. This was an active income, meaning that I had to consistently monitor the ads, making sure orders were fulfilled, manage chargebacks, refunds, opening stores, shutting down stores, and over time it really got to me that this was not passive income. I wanted to be able to take a week off, or heck, even take the whole month off and go to Japan, still be making money every day, and wake up knowing that I didn't have to worry about it, because it was taking care of itself. I wanted true freedom in my life, and if you've gotten this far in the video, I'm sure that's what you want too. Now, I'll say this right now, there is nothing wrong with the dropshipping business model, but I realized over this past year that it just didn't make sense for me to keep pursuing based off the lifestyle I wanted. Ultimately, I got really fed up with dealing with Facebook ads because my ads would get disapproved, accounts get disabled, there was nothing I could do about it but submit for a manual review, which took days and sometimes even weeks, which made me at the mercy of the people at Facebook. Then one day, when I was casually reading a review on an agency course I was thinking about buying because I thought about starting a digital marketing agency, I was introduced to this other model that only relied on generating free traffic from Google, and that immediately caught my attention. I learned it was called local lead generation, where you rank websites in the local search engine of Google, and once these sites rank, they generate leads for small businesses because you're on page 1. You then pass those leads off to a local business and then charge them for it. That's it. I began seeing that it was a much more passive way of generating income online without dealing with the hassle of Facebook ads and the risk factor of not knowing if my business would come to a screeching halt just because Facebook didn't like my ad or whatever. Or even worse, shut my account down. So I gave the local lead gen model a shot, and it's working. I didn't think in the beginning it would, but it is. And I prefer this way of making money so much more than dropshipping. So if you want to learn more about it, click the link below in the description and watch the video where it goes into detail. That's it for now. These are the 10 things I wish I would have done differently in my dropshipping business when I started a year ago. I hope this video was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.